My first guest this evening is Anthony Martinez. He is a Turlock resident and he is doing some investigation down there in Turlock. But tonight, we're not going to be talking about Turlock or the politics down there. We are going to be talking about the GOP race and the candidates and Anthony's impression of those candidates. Welcome.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, you were here not too long ago. We were talking about the pre-election for the mayoral race, I think.
Yeah, actually, it was a little bit of a wrap up. It was right after the election. I was on the Zlocky campaign.
That's right.
We had captured a strong 20%, I believe, a little bit over. Wasn't quite enough to get us into that runoff that actually the citizens of Modesto are going through right now. That's also not getting as much attention maybe as the Modesto citizens need, but
it's kind of quiet.
It's very quiet.
Yeah, I would like to hear a little bit more news about that.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it's going out to every registered voter, so you don't know what you're going to get back. I mean, it's an all-mail ballot. You don't know what you're going to get back. The people that voted in the first election might be completely outnumbered by people who had not voted at all, but are registered, so you don't know what you're going to get.
Now, even though you live in Turlock, you follow Modesto politics.
Oh yes, very closely. In fact, the entire local political scene. I really enjoyed my high school civics class, and I just kind of kept on it. And I found any place you could have a good spirited discussion about anything was something I enjoyed, and politics seemed like a way to have that discussion.
It's very spirited. I've noticed that with anyone, doesn't matter Republican, Democrat, or any other party.
In between, yes.
In between, it is very spirited. It's even more heated than the topic of religion, I've found.
I would think so, yes.
Yeah, I've actually seen people go to almost blows over politics.
Well, and I've actually heard the funny quote, well, the reason is because people actually have respect for other people's religion in most aspects. Politics isn't afforded that same benefit.
Now, you have been following the GOP.
Yes, I've been following the GOP nominating race. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina is voting this Saturday. In the interest of full disclosure, I'm a Democrat, and I'm just kind of I know that's the reason you had wanted me on here was to give a paradigm view of from the Democratic Party, how is this nomination shaping up, and what is worrisome and what is looking beneficial from both sides of the aisle.
Now, after Iowa, I think Michelle Bachmann dropped out within a day or two.
Right, the day after. Michelle Bachmann dropped out. She has not endorsed, nor has Herman Cain.
He was out way before
He was
Iowa.
out a long time before Iowa. I guess in the political sense of the word, a long time was about a month. So I guess we're not too crazy. But no, Michelle Bachmann, and Herman Cain have both dropped out. John Huntsman actually dropped out this morning, and he put his support behind Mitt Romney. And so in the candidate field left, you have Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, Rick Perry, Mitt Romney, and Ron Paul.
Yeah, you don't want to forget Ron Paul.
Ever the maverick Ron Paul. And honestly, from a Democratic side, I think it's very interesting that we have a vehement anti-war candidate in the GOP getting this kind of polling number. It really shows. I don't want to say divide. I think that is a little too strong. I think President Obama for the GOP is a very unifying theme. That as long as you can field a candidate that has a very good shot at making Obama a one-term president, that is a very unifying thing. But Ron Paul's politics are very, very different from the other four, especially. But from Mitt Romney, the front runner, they are oil and water as far as a lot of their policies, but they're the first and second candidates in both. Or I'm sorry, actually, Ron Paul was third in Iowa, but he came in second in New Hampshire to Romney.
You were talking about Iowa and New Hampshire kind of threw me off there because talking about that, I heard that Ron Paul actually came in second in Iowa.
No, well, he came in second if you would consider the first two a tie.
Okay.
Because Mitt Romney ended up...
They both had 25%.
They both had 25%. Mitt Romney won by 8 votes with Rick Santorum.
Okay.
Romney and Santorum tied for first by a margin of 8 votes, and Ron Paul came in a very commanding third. I want to say 21%.
It was very strong.
It was a very strong 3-man finish. And then New Hampshire, which Romney had held early after Iowa, he had held at about 42% to 45. He still finished strong with, I want to say, 39, right at 40, right about where it said it was going to be. The biggest surge, however, we would all have thought it would have been Rick Santorum, given his good finish in Iowa. Ron Paul was actually the biggest beneficiary. Ron Paul came in right behind him, and then John Huntsman finished a third at 17% after having lived in the state for about a year. So he didn't get off the ground.
That's gotta hurt. Huh?
It really does. He was by far the most moderate candidate, and I think in any primary, Democratic or Republican, you really have to know who your audience is, and he was very much a unifying. Let's all work together and let's all, solve problems together. That's a very good message in the general election. When you're appealing to Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and again everyone in between. But when you're talking to just GOP voters, the right-wing Republicans, they do want the message to be, we are going to take back that White House. It's our time to
a little less
to
being
rally,
nice,
right? A little less being nice and a little bit out for blood. And in all fairness, that's what Democrats did at the end of the two Bush terms. That was they fielded Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and it was very much it was very vitriolic of, let's get that White House. It's our time. We're getting it back. So that's what John Huntsman, I think, really failed to do in the GOP primary, was to get a little dirty with the not even the messaging, just to get gritty and say, that's my White House. I'm taking it back for my party.